Hi, everyone. This is Will Pfeiffer. I'm one of the organizers for the Dallas County Democratic Party coordinated campaign. And today I'm going to be going over how to use PhoneBurner. PhoneBurner is sort of a power dialer that we've been using lately that is great. It completely expedites the process of phone banking and eliminates the need to hand dial your contacts. Now, to sign up for a phone banking shift, you'll go to our Mobilize page, mobilize.us/Dallas Democrats. There's going to be a section here specifically dedicated to phone burner shifts. You will put in your information and select a time frame that works for you. And once you're signed up, you will be emailed a sign-in to use for that day. Now, something very important to note, these are shared accounts. So we really encourage our volunteers to please use the accounts for your designated shift. That way, people aren't getting booted off of their calls because somebody is trying to sign in at a different time that they weren't signed up for. So once you receive your login, I'm going to go over here. You'll go to phoneburner.com. Now, real quick, PhoneBurner, to my knowledge, only works on Google Chrome. I believe it works on Microsoft Edge. I've never tried Firefox, but I know that Safari does not work. So you can't use PhoneBurner on Safari. My recommendation would just be to use Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge. So once you're here, you'll go to the sign in button in the top right corner, punch in your login information that you received via email, and you will be signed in. It will be on the contacts page, which is great. So once you are on the contacts page, you will look for this folder over here, the DCDP coordinated campaign folder. Now below this folder, we will have a list of folders that will have your name on it and likely your precinct number, or just something to identify that it's obviously your folder. We can pull contacts from your precinct, and we will likely work with other state reps that are running or just candidates in general and collaborate with them on projects to have, maybe a full House district like HD 108. So those projects will be more available in the future. So for now, I'm going to scroll down to the sample contacts folder just to show you how a test run will look. Now, to use PhoneBurner, you will need either a landline or a cell phone. You'll need a computer or a laptop or even a tablet works. I've never used a tablet personally, but I have heard that it works just fine, or an iPad. So once you are on your contacts page, you will look for this button up here. Obviously, you can individually check each contact in your folder, but to quickly do it, you can just click this one up here and it'll select all your contacts for you. And if you have a pop-up blocker, you're going to want to disable it. So typically in the top right corner of your internet browser, depending on what you use, there will be some kind of way that you can disable your pop-up blocker. Or if you try to use it and you have it on, you'll likely get a notification PhoneBurner is trying to open a window. So you'll just want to allow that for this. If you get to your folder and you only see like a handful of contacts, so for this folder, it has only 3 contacts in it, but some of them, you might have 100, up to 500 at a time. And you're only seeing a couple. You can go to this button over here. This is the show button, and you can display however many contacts you want at a time. So that way you can, select more at a time if you're only seeing 25. In addition, this is a sort button up here. So you can come to this button and let's see. Sorry, my computer is a little slow. Come to this button over here, click on the arrow right here, and you can, sort by first name, last name. It's not really important, but just something you can have in mind. For example, date added is a good one to use. So if you have some old contacts that you've already done, which will likely already be in the called folder, but you can certainly adjust as you wish. So let's go ahead and do a sample run. So you'll click Begin Dial Session, and then you will get a pop-up on your screen. Here we go. Now, these are the presets that we have. We'll likely make one for the DCDP so you don't have to do this manually. It'll be named Dallas County Democratic Party Coordinated Campaign, something along those lines. But for today, we'll do manually set settings. Now, these are your options for the dial session. The dial session basically is all of your contacts will be uploaded into one list, and PhoneBurner will generate a random number to dial, and you will dial that number from your phone, and then you will be connected to the dial session, and you'll control the calls from your computer, to put it plainly. So for phone script, we are going to select DCDP Coordinated Campaign, and this is actually going to be the option for everything. So once you have selected DCDP Coordinated Campaign for all of your options, you will go to Caller ID, and the caller ID that we'll be using is this is a Google dummy number that we have set up, or a Google hotline, if you will. So when you are making calls to voters, it will not show up as your caller ID. Therefore, you won't be receiving any callbacks at inconvenient times of the day. So your caller ID is protected, and we have a familiar looking number, a 972 area code that's pretty common around DFW, just so people may be more inclined to pick up, seeing as it isn't some kind of 212 or some odd number that doesn't look familiar. So once you have everything selected, you will click continue, and then you will be given a random number to dial. It's going to be different every time. So I'm going to dial this number here. And don't worry, once you dial the number, you're not immediately going to be on your first call. You'll be at a little screen beforehand, so you can you won't immediately be thrown into a call.
The start button on your screen. Your dial session will begin.
So I put my phone on speaker there. You'll hear a computer voice go, "Thank you for connecting." Once you see the start button, you can start dialing. Now, as you can see, our caller ID is the 972 number. We have 3 contacts to call, and it will give you the first and last name of your first contact. Now, once you click start dialing, it's going to go straight to your first contact. However, as soon as you click start dialing, this will turn into a pause button. So when I'm using PhoneBurner, I like to go ahead and click start and then immediately click pause once the button pops up. That way I can just kind of see what I'm working with and see, who I'm talking to, what precinct they're from, what House district they're from, just so I can kind of have an idea of, what I can talk to them about. So I'll click start dialing, and then I'll click pause. Now, as we can see, we have a pretty broad amount of information here. Specifically for these calls, you will have the person's first and last name, you will have their age, and you will have their precinct. We'll make sure that that information is on there. These are custom fields. Typically, these will likely be empty, except for the precinct and the age as well, because we want to be talking to people age 65 and older about voting by mail. Now, over here, click on phone script. These calls, the targeting that we're doing are Democratic voters with a partisanship score of 70 or above. And to put that in simpler terms, you will be calling good Democrats, people who have likely voted in the 2020 March primary. Maybe they voted in the 2018 general election, or any past election like that. So this is the script that you can work with. You do not have to follow it word for word. It's just simply there to help you. I sort of adapt mine, according to what works for me. We want to be calling people and reminding them about the loss of straight ticket voting, which has been a huge advantage for Democrats in previous elections. And in addition, if we catch somebody who is 65 and older, we want to remind them that they do qualify for a vote by mail ballot. And we want to encourage people to vote safely so that they are not risking themselves during the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, if you have a person who would like to get signed up for a vote by mail application, you can direct them to this link here. which is texasvotesbymail.com. And I'll pull that up in just a second to kind of go over how it works. But essentially what it is a Google form. People can type in their email, fill out their information, and they will be emailed a vote by mail application, which they can then print out, sign, and mail in. It's super convenient, and you can walk them through how to do it over the phone. And in addition, we have added a Spanish script at the bottom. We have the Spanish text here, and then we have a translation below. So you can use this. I specifically live in East Dallas. There is a high Spanish-speaking population over here, so I drew this up myself, and it's worked just fine for me. In addition, if you do not feel comfortable using it, there is a notes section over here, which I'll zoom in on. This is great because if you have a voter who maybe has a question or something that you don't immediately know the answer to, you can, type a note over here. So if you don't feel comfortable using the Spanish script, you can just simply type Spanish speaker. And we can go through the called folder and see the results of the call and then pick out the people who need to be called back. So any kind of question, or if you want to follow up with somebody, you can make a note here and we will see it and be able to follow up accordingly. Now, before I click continue dialing, at the bottom of the screen here, once this dialing pause window goes away, there will be a couple of buttons that you can use to record how the call goes. So one of them is voicemail, one of them is no answer, and one of them is wrong number. The great thing about PhoneBurner is that you do not have to wait for the beep on the voicemail. In addition, it's a pre-recorded voicemail, which is essentially a summary of the script. We're telling people about the loss of straight ticket voting, reminding them to vote all the way down the ballot, and then telling them how they can get applied for a mail ballot if they are 65 or older. So like I said, as soon as you hear, "Hi, this is Sam, thanks for," or, can't get to the phone, you don't have to wait for the beep. You can just click the voicemail button and it'll be highlighted in green once it is, it'll indicate that it's ready to leave a voicemail. And obviously, the no answer and the wrong number are fairly self-explanatory. And in addition to that, there is another set of buttons that you'll see behind the live answer set. Now, the live answer set will pop up when you connect to a call and you talk to a person. So I'm going to quickly go through this call. I'll put this on speaker just so you can hear how it will look, or see how it'll look. So I'll click continue dialing, and then we'll be on the first call. So it'll dial.
Hi there, this is Sam Sample, and I'll make this really quick. As you listen.
Boom. Didn't even have to wait for the full thing. The PhoneBurner system will wait for the beep. It's programmed to do so, and then it will leave the pre-recorded voicemail. This will save you a lot of time. Now, when you are making calls on PhoneBurner, you will stay on the line the whole time when you're on your phone. So I know it's going to be kind of a habit to hang up after each call, but you do not have to do that. You'll go to the next call and you'll just simply stay on the line on your phone and it'll start calling the next contact. Now up here, as you can see, we have a home phone for George Sample, which is obviously a fake person. When we upload the numbers from your precinct, you'll likely also have a cell number as well. So you can try whichever one, you can try both numbers and see whichever one works. And so you might have an extra number up here to use. And of course you can just click this dial button up here to dial. And once you click continue dialing, it'll just automatically start dialing for you. Now I'm gonna show you how it looks when you connect to a call. So I'm gonna click continue dialing, let this one ring, and I'm gonna click live answer. And here we have a handful more options to pick from. Now this will automatically pop up for you once you end a call with somebody and the other person hangs up. And of course you can click that button that I just clicked, the end this call button, and then that'll hang up the call. And you can tell up here that connection to your call has been terminated. So that way you're off the line. So the buttons that we have down here, vote Dem in person. So if you talk to a person and they say, "Yes, I will vote for every Democrat. Thanks for calling me and giving me this information," and try to figure out how they plan to vote. Obviously, if they will vote in person, you'll click this button. If somebody plans to vote by mail, and they plan to vote a straight ticket, you'll click the Vote Dem by mail. Now, if you come across somebody who is kind of on the fence, they don't know if they want to vote a straight ticket and they're an independent voter, you'll select this. And then, of course, wrong number. This is if you ask for George, but it happens to be somebody different, you can confirm with them that it's the wrong number, and you can just make this selection here. Now, you're unlikely to get this Republican button. We certainly hope that you don't. But chances are you might have a Republican. The data isn't always perfect, so you'll select this button, and then, of course, no answer. So sometimes if you connect to a call and you say hello, and then it just disconnects, you'll just select no answer. And basically, these buttons will just record the data, and we can then go in once you're finished with all your calls, and we will export that data and add it to Texas Van for people to use. If people want to walk their precinct and they want to talk to good Democrats, which obviously we can't walk our precincts right now, unfortunately, because of the pandemic. But this is a great, fast, and efficient way for us to collect data, to share with other Democrats so that we can all kind of work together on these things. Now, I'm going to try to think of a couple of things that you might run into. The most common problem that you might have when using PhoneBurner is that some people nowadays will have a call screening that will not accept calls from a third-party client. So if you have ever called somebody and heard you are using No More Robo, so somebody who has a robocall screening software or app on their phone, that is likely to come up. And typically what will happen is the phone will ring and ring and ring and ring. And then you'll get something that looks like this that says the connection to your call has been terminated. That's okay. If that happens, just click no answer and go to the next call. And also something that's worth noting is that PhoneBurner is entirely dependent on your internet connection. So if your internet connection is bad, then you're likely not going to be able to connect to some of your calls. It's common to have this happen a couple contacts in a row. Sometimes you might just keep ringing and you don't get somebody's voicemail. That's a fairly common occurrence, and the likely reason is because this person either ignored the call, or they don't have a voicemail set up, or they have some kind of phone screening, robocall screening on their phone. Another commonly asked question, I already addressed it, but will my caller ID show up? No, it will be this Google hotline here. We've made it a familiar number so that it might be a little recognizable to somebody who's looking at their phone. Now, if you are a precinct chair and you think that it would be more beneficial to have your caller ID on here, we can certainly set that up. You can contact Zach or I. It's super easy to do. We'll just have to verify your caller ID on PhoneBurner. And so that's very easy to do. And I'll go ahead and click no answer here and go to the next. Oh, that was the end of the session. So that's the sample contacts. As you can see, PhoneBurner will have a little stat selection here, and you can see just how much time you saved. It's typically about 4 times the speed of hand dialing. So it's extremely efficient. You're leaving automatic voicemails. You're saving a lot of time and getting valuable information. A couple things that I'll go over are just a few potential scenarios that you might run into. One of the most common being that once you start using PhoneBurner, your typical instinct is to hang up your phone rather than just going to the next contact. So I'm going to show you how your screen will look if you accidentally hang up the phone. If you hang up, this screen will pop up. It'll give you just another number just to reconnect. If you're actually done, you can, of course, click I'm done. But I'm going to dial back in, and it'll take me right to the contact that I was previously working on. There you go. So now we're back to the contact. So that's going to be the most common occurrence I would expect. In addition, if you say you call Jeff, sample, and you get maybe their spouse, partner, or somebody else that lives in the house, and it's the wrong number, uh, if they offer you, if you introduce yourself and you say, "Hey, I'm a Democrat. I was trying to reach out to this person," and they want to give you their actual number, you can click on this plus button right here and add a new phone number. So, if they have whatever their phone number might be, you can punch it in here and then click the dial button and then call the correct number. If you get somebody and it's the wrong person and they actually do live in the county and they are a Democrat, you can of course just change their information here, and that way we can have that for our records and correct it in van. Um, Commonly asked question, I think I addressed this, but where are these numbers coming from? We will be using Texas Van, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with. It's the Texas Democratic Party database, and we'll be pulling people with a good Democratic score that are likely to vote in the general election, just so we're making sure that we're turning out pledges. Another thing that I'll go over quickly is the texasvotesbymail.com. This is a Google form that we've set up where people can go and sign up for a vote by mail ballot or application. So the person, if you get somebody on the phone and they trust you with their information, which I've been able to do, you can get their first and last name. Typically, my way of doing it is say, "Hey, listen, if you'd like a vote by mail application, I'm on my computer right now and I could show you how to do it, or I could sign up for you." So you'll get their email address, their first and last name, their date of birth, their address of where they're registered to vote, so street, city, state, zip, where they would like it mailed to. Um, and then, this is just if they're not registered at that address, if they live, what kind of facility or home do they live at, the reason for voting by mail, which is almost always 65 and older, if they're absent from the county, but I haven't really gotten this issue yet. You'll put this for the November election, and then you'll select which county they're in. Now, which for us is typically Dallas. Now, when you submit this vote by mail application, they will be emailed a application with their information on it. They can print it out and sign it and then mail it. Now, if they do not have a computer or a printer, and they are unable to, print it out themselves, just for the sake of now, I'm going to put in my email here. You can put in either my email or your email if you'd like, and just tell them, "Hey, I'm going to email this to myself. I'll print it out and I'll mail it to you." And then from there, you can fill it out and sign it and mail it in yourself. Now, if you do not feel comfortable doing this, if this is something that might just be a little bit too much, obviously we encourage you to just tell them about the website and say, "Hey, if you have time, go and do this. Go to texasvotesbymail.com and get yourself a vote by mail application." And in the case that they don't have a computer, what you can do is say, "Hey, can we call you back at another time and follow up with you and have somebody walk you through how to do it and then have them mail it to you?" Now, you can make a note section over here, call back for vote by mail application. It would be helpful if you would just let us know if you happen to get one of these people, and we'll go through the notes section and see which person it is on the call history. And then Zach or I or anybody from the DCP office can follow up with them another day and get them a vote by mail application. So with that being said, I'm just going to quickly do a run through of how to get set up on PhoneBurner again. Once again, you'll go to mobilize.us/Dallas Democrats. Just like when you sign up for our weekly meetings, we'll have a PhoneBurner section here with a list of shifts available. We'll likely have like a 10 to 2, or I'm sorry, 10 to 12, 12 to 2. We'll have 2-hour shifts available, and you can, sign on when you want. Make sure that you use the accounts only when you are required to. So if you sign up for 10 to 12, make sure that you use it for that particular shift. That way that people aren't getting booted off their accounts when they're trying to make calls. Like I said, these are shared accounts. And you'll go to phoneburner.com. You'll be at the sign-in screen here. Click sign in. we'll do the sign in that you received. Oh, wait, sorry. There we go. Once you're signed in, you'll be on the contacts page. Look on the side here. You may have to click on there should be a see more button if you happen to miss your folder, but it should likely be at the top. You'll go to the folder under DCDP coordinated campaign with your name on it. For now, I'm just going to use the called folder because we just called all the sample contacts. Now, you'll look for the white box at the top, which is the select all button. Select all of your contacts. Again, you can show however many you would like. If you have, if you're only seeing 25, but you see right here that you have 100, click on show 100 if you want to call those people. Make sure that your pop-up blocker is disabled. Click on begin dial session. You'll get a pop-up here. Like I said earlier, we'll likely add a Dallas coordinated campaign preset, but for now, we'll do manually set settings. Everything will be DCDP coordinated campaign to keep it simple. Use the voter caller ID, or if you're a precinct chair or you think it'd be more beneficial to have your number on here, we can add that for you. Click continue. I'm going to dial this number here. It'll be a random number every time. And simple as that. I will be connected to the dial session. I don't have to hang up my phone. I don't have to dial any numbers. All the numbers and contacts are uploaded into the dial session. I'll click on start dialing and it'll go straight to my first contact. So I'm dialing, as you can see here, this little dot button. And there you go. You can leave a voicemail. If you happen to get their voicemail, go right to the next contact. I've got Sam here, and you'll be calling much, much faster than if you were hand dialing. And I believe that should cover it. Thanks for tuning into this training, and please let us know if we can assist you in any way. Zach Bullard and I will put our contact information on the email that we sent out when you sign up, so you can give us a call or text if you have any questions. We hope that this covers it, and we will also be sending out text instructions along with this video, and we'll try to put a sort of a frequently asked questions on there so that you'll have something to review too. But we hope you guys find this helpful, and thanks so much for volunteering.